I'm the first African-American female and Democrat. Yes. I was never celebrated or congratulated.
Are you kidding me? What are you, 5? I'm the first female Democrat and did nobody celebrate or congratulate me? Ma'am, that's not an accomplishment. When I say Atlanta must be stopped, Atlanta must be stopped. There is either there's too much fluoride in our water supply, or something is going on in our soil to where the food grown. It's just got Atlanta Metro. We're just on a whole nother level right now. So this next story that I want to bring to you guys is about a Douglas County judge. Now, Douglas County is here in Metro Atlanta. I call this in West Jerusalem. In fact, I was in Douglas County yesterday, but I need to share with you guys this story. Y'all, okay, so y'all know how I'm always talking. I am always talking about accountability and how I just want to see women who look like me to uphold not an unreasonable standard, right? Because we're all fallen sinners. None of us are perfect, but there was a time when there were just like certain basics that we would just uphold. You know, right was right, wrong was wrong. Hard work wins. Just all of the things that you learned growing up. The tide has shifted to now it's like women, there's this level of entitlement and narcissism and I don't know what else to call it. It's just really bad. So I'm gonna share this story with you guys, and this one's a piece of work. Y'all take a listen at this one.
Extraordinary development tonight in the long-running investigation into Douglas County Judge Christina Peterson.
In a rare move, a hearing panel decided Peterson is guilty of, quote, systemic incompetence and should not remain in office.
Okay, you guys, let me give y'all some context and some background. So this is a probate judge in Douglas County, which is the county slightly past Six Flags. If you're familiar with Metro Atlanta area, if you just on 20 and you go west, right? Douglas County is that way. So this judge, her name is Christina Peterson. She just got into the role like in 2020 or 2021. She is a probate judge. So if you know anything about our judicial system, probate judges, I mean, they basically do marriages and death certificates and things like that. It's really low key, small caseload. Like it's like your gateway into I want to be a judge. You at the bottom. No shade if you're a probate judge. I respect all judges, but I'm just saying in terms of trying to quantify the level of judicial power that you hold, it's probate judge. Okay. So she was elected to this position. As you know, we have to note she was the first. First what? First Black, first female, if I'm not mistaken. So that's supposed to be a big deal, right? And so she gets this position. And what year is it, you guys? It's 2024. So from 2021 to 2024, there have been a boatload of issues with this particular judge. And you guys, when you find out what the issues are, you're going to be like, girl, why are we always doing the most? So I showed you that Fox 5 news clip. But what I actually want to do is I'm going to do a reaction to an actual attorney who on YouTube, shout out to Nate the lawyer, who did a phenomenal job covering this. So I'm going to react to his commentary on this. And so I'll stop and start in between.
Now, you got to hear why this judge was kicked off the bench, and she's going to scream racism because she's finally being held accountable for her actions. This is Judge Christina Peterson. She was elected as the first Black woman probate judge in Douglas County, Georgia. This happened in 2020. Now, during that time, there was this wave of female empowerment and progressive change in politics. Some examples are Letitia James in New York, Fannie Willis in Fulton County, Georgia, Tiffany A. Hinyard in Dalton, Illinois, and Judge Christina Peterson. Now, as a black woman, she demanded to get paid more than the previous probate judge. See, the previous judge made about $96,000 a year, but Peterson said she needed to make more. She wanted to make what these senior judges were making.
Okay, you guys. So let me give you just recap. Probate judge. First gripe was, I'm not making enough money. Right? So mind you, remember, if you got your probate, this is not like you're a superior court judge. This is not, you're just a probate judge. Her first issue was that she was not being paid enough. Okay, so keep that in mind.
She demanded to get paid more than the previous probate judge. See, the previous judge made about $96,000 a year, but Peterson said she needed to make more. She wanted to make what these senior judges were making, and that was about $173,000 per year. But Peterson was just a first-time judge. How can you have an inexperienced judge just come in and demand to be paid what judges who have been there for 10 years make? This is what happened.
New developments in a Fox 5 I-Team investigation involving how big a paycheck a newly elected judge should be getting.
Fox 5 I-Team reporter Randy Travis says taxpayers won't be paying the judge as much as she wanted, but still more than some elected leaders feel that she deserves.
I'm looking for fairness across the board.
And for soon-to-be Douglas County probate judge Christina Peterson, fairness would be to make $175,000 a year, around what the superior and state court judges in Douglas County are getting.
It's not being fair and consistent. I have those same qualifications as everyone else.
Forget that she's never been a judge before, and the probate judge's job is mainly to process wills, birth certificates, and marriage licenses. The man she's replacing made $96,000 a year.
She knew what the pay was when she signed up to run.
Now, the chief judge then weighed in on this claim by Judge Peterson that she was being discriminated against because she was a woman, and that's why she wasn't getting paid what the other judges were getting paid. See,
okay, so are you guys following this? Basically, her predecessor in this role was making $96,000 a year. Probate, mind you, she's probate judge. Her gripe, she's a first-time judge at that. Her gripe was, I just want fairness across the board because I have all of the qualifications as all of these other judges. Now, I don't know if you guys remember back to when there was a time when it was just like something called entry level. And, when you are first getting your foot in the door in a particular position at the entry level, everyone kind of understood that if you're just getting there, you can't command compensation equivalent to those who either have seniority or more experience than you because you just got there. Like, there was a point where you were just grateful to just be picked. Like, yay, I got the job. What is the entry level pay? Oh, okay, I'll take that. Because it was always this understanding that, okay, well, after I've been here for a little while, I've get more experience under my belt, maybe add some more skills to my resume that I can then go back and negotiate. Like, I can have in good faith a conversation. Hey, Madam Supervisor or Sir Supervisor, I've been with this organization. Now, this is the legal system, but it still would work the same way. Like, I would conduct myself if I was in corporate America. At least this is how I used to conduct myself. I don't know where they get these chicks from. These orangutans are on a whole nother level. It's like they literally don't know how to act. And this is why I know some of y'all get upset when I call them orangutans. But it's because my mother would be mortified if she had worked and put me through school. And then when I finally become a judge, as soon as I get there, I'm showing out and causing problems, demanding things. I'm like, girl, you just got there. What makes you think you deserve the same thing that all these other judges been making? You don't go sit down somewhere and earn your keep, show your work, if my daddy was still alive, y'all already know, he'd have been like, see, they should fire you. And then I'd be upset and I'd be like, why? He'd be like, because like you don't just come on the scene acting that way. Now embarrassing the family. Like that would have been my dad. Now he was notorious for embarrassing the family, but that's a whole another story. But you get there and you demonstrate that you are the consummate professional, right? You're just keeping your caseload under control, doing your job, showing up on time, just doing the basics. And then maybe in 24 months, you can say, hey, you guys, I'm so grateful to serve on the Douglas County probate, judge, the court. All right. I don't know all the terminology. I'm in character right now, so flow with me. And I'd say, I think it would be useful, if possible, for us to have a discussion surrounding my compensation. I want to be fair to the taxpayers and I want to be a good steward of the funds. However, this is what I've managed to accomplish since I've been in this role. And then you show your work. You be like, I've done this. I've saved the county this amount of money, or I've issued this many marriage certificates and performed this many weddings. And I've performed, I've done this. Like you bring your statistics, you bring it all. And then what you do, you say, and like I said, these are government jobs. So I don't even know if these salaries are just set in stone or if there's any wiggle room for negotiation. But this is just a word to the wise. For any young ladies that are watching this is not how you do it. This is not how you act. There is a way, right? If you all that in a bag of chips, right? And when you stepped into the role, you revolutionized the office. That is not how you do it. You don't walk in demanding and I just want fairness. You don't even bring up a fairness in the discussion. What you want to do is demonstrate to them the value that you bring to the organization is so high that in your absence, everybody's going to feel it. That's what you do. And you don't do it in a haughty and boastful way. Check my records, right? You demonstrate to them in a professional manner your performance. Oh, there's something about performance and meritocracy that seems to be missing from this conversation, right? Your performance matters. How you conduct yourself in this role matters. Following the rules matter. So what happens is when you've done those things, and you have a record that is exemplary to show for it, when it's time to have that money conversation, either they're going to come up off some cash and pay you what you deserve to make. That's when you take your talent elsewhere. And it's no hard feelings. There's no shade. You're like, well, and before you do it, you make sure you have something already lined up. Like you don't just get in your feelings and storm out like somebody stole your bike. That's not what you do. You duly noted. Oh, and when they say the budget has been set and we're really not in a position right now to have a discussion about compensation, your response is going to be, okay, well, can you let me know when are you guys going to be discussing next year's budget so that we can revisit this conversation? And then you be patient and wait. And then when that time comes and they don't bring it up again, you like, okay, I gave them some time. I was patient, right? I was cool. I was calm and collected. What you're doing on the back end, while you still doing a great job, is your resume is circulated and everybody else knows that you're looking. You get you a headhunter or somebody, a recruiter who knows that you are doing the darn thing, and just, hey, the highest bidder. And then when you put in your resignation, they're not shocked or confused. And what they might do, because now they're going to hate to see you go, they're going to be fighting possibly. If you're that good, if you're really as good as you say you are, what can we do to get you to stay? I mean, can we have a conversation about a new compensation package? Right? I mean, can we throw in a company car maybe? You take it all in and you listen, you keep your game face on because you're a professional and you just sit there and boys and girls, gentlemen and ladies, chairman of the board, I'm so grateful for this opportunity to revisit this conversation, the one we had previously. And I'm so grateful for the time that I have spent here. However, I've already committed. I've already committed to company ABC. And so, I wish there was something we could do, but I'm appreciative for the time that I've had here. I've learned so much. I'll come to the company party. Like, you just lay it on real thick. But what you don't do is act the fool and show your tail, embarrassing the family, the culture, just everybody. But see, with these are ratchet tanks, they don't care about any of that. You know why? What did I teach you guys about orangutans? First, let's revisit the definition. An orangutan is a female imbecile, so she's foolish. She lacks sense. She don't use the sense that the good Lord gave her. She's a female imbecile who cannot manage her misery, right? And it's not, remember, it's not about how she looks. It's not dermal. It's not external. It is behavior and mindset. So what happens is with the orangutan, the behavior and the mindset that drives them is what causes them to act and do the things that they do. And so remember, they're not managing their misery well. And they tend to be very self-centered. So it's all about them. Everything is about them, their wants, their needs. They cannot manage it. And so they're overcompensating for the lack of joy in their life, for the lack of contentment in their life. So they do these things, demanding their way, thinking that it's going to make them happy. But it doesn't. They always come up short. So with the orangutan, the skills that I just described previously and how you conduct yourself in a professional setting, they skipped all that because they don't think that those rules apply to them because they're so used to not being able to manage their misery and being told that they're the queens with the K, right? And that they're just fabulous and the black girl magic and, they're always adjusting their imaginary crowns. They miss this part of the lesson. They never learned it. And they've never been held accountable because they've been allowed, people have affirmed them in their foolishness. But let Nate the lawyer continue and finish his commentary because I'm just getting started. It's getting real good.
See, the Chief Justice showed the numbers, and a probate judge handles about 700 cases per year, where other judges handle about 10,000 cases per year.
The issue was so contentious in Douglas County that the Chief Judge of Superior Court offered his opinion before the budget vote, sending commissioners this letter listing the small number of probate court cases, 647.
Do y'all see that? So probate court, right there, you see it? 647. Magistrate court, 10,770. Juvenile court, I'm surprised that's as low as it is, but that could because they're not prosecuting these crimes from these out of control kids. 1,166. State court, 13,473, and Superior Court, 6,332. So this is where she falls as it relates to workload and caseload in comparison to the other judges in the county. 647. And she's griping about not making enough money. So just pay attention to that.
Compared to the caseload for all the other courts.
It's not fair to compare that court to the other judges.
But Judge Peterson screamed racism and sexism. And the Democrats who were on the committee who decides who gets paid what came down on the judge's side, making her the highest paid judge in the county.
So notice the facts. The observable reality of the fact that she has the smallest caseload, but because she was able to weaponize her ethnicity and her gender, what did all the Democrats on the board do? They cowered like they always do. Or no, that's their default position. They think in these kinds of categories. They're unable to objectively look at the facts and say, well, wait a minute. Like, why are we bringing ethnicity and gender into this conversation? It's obvious she doesn't have the caseload as everybody else. So why should she be making more money? But no, that goes out the window, and they side with her, and she gets her way. It gets worse though.
No, she had no experience. She had race. Remember, she was the first black woman.
But commissioners would do just that, voting 3-2 that since Peterson is an attorney and her predecessor is not, she deserved a supplement of $36,688 to go with her state-mandated $88,110 a year salary. She'll make at least $124,000 a year.
We have a 3-2 vote and the motion carries.
But that's not all. State law allows the probate judge to keep any fees paid for birth and death certificates. This year in Douglas County, that added up to more than $70,000.
So you guys, little known fact, I've had to go to probate court before when I was trying to settle my dad's estate. And obviously, I've had to go to probate court when Robert and I got married in the courthouse. So you go there to apply for your marriage license and things like that. And so those fees that you pay, those filing fees, I was today years old. Well, it actually was yesterday. So I'm one day ahead of learning that the judge gets to keep those fees. I was like, well, how convenient is that? Now, to be fair, this is a practice that has always been the case. However, note this. The way it normally works is that the person that's in that role, they will keep some of those fees, but it is not customary for them to keep all of it. So they might keep half and then put the rest back into the general fund. And I was like, that's what a good judge would do, Not this orangutan. She like, no, I want all of it. I want all of it. So here you're going to see, not only is this woman stirring up the hornet's nest on the basis of I'm black and I'm a woman, so you gotta do what I say, right? She's doing all of that, but she don't have any experience. But because she's an attorney, the board was like, okay, well, we can throw in, a little buffer, an extra $30-something thousand for the simple fact that the previous judge at $96K wasn't an attorney and she is. So they granted her that. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Let's go. But then as you're going to listen in to what the previous judge before her did and what she does, and then we'll talk about it.
Retiring Judge Hal Hamrick kept half, returning the other half to the general fund. Judge Peterson says she will keep it all, meaning if that fee amount repeats next year, her actual pay could rise to as much as $194,000. That would be more than any other judge in the Douglas County Courthouse.
DEI for the win. Now, remember, Judge Peterson also gets to keep any fees paid for birth certificates and death certificates under the law. Now, according to Douglas County records, in 2022 and in 2021, she averaged about $140,000 in fees. Now, not only did that make her one of the highest paid judges in the county, if not the highest, but she's even getting paid more than the Georgia Supreme Court Chief Justice, who only makes $216,000 a year. Combined with the fees, Peterson makes $265,000 a year, $50,000 more than the Chief Justice on the Georgia Supreme Court.
Then there's how much she makes. Last year, Peterson made $266,000, more than any judge in the courthouse, more than the Supreme Court justices who will eventually decide her fate. That's largely due to her ability to keep all the birth and death certificate fee money from last year, around $139,000, in addition to her $127,000 annual salary. She can legally do that because, unlike some other counties, the Douglas County Board of Commissioners never put a cap on those fees.
So now This is unprecedented. They've never had a greedy goon like this serve in this capacity. I mean, the old guy who was there before, this is what happens. This is what DEI gets you. They're used to the judges keeping some of the fees, but, not being greedy, just you can have some, the rest goes back into general fund. She gonna keep all her fees. So now they actually have to put laws into place on the books to be like, okay, we need to cap this out because it's obvious this orangutan is she's gonna milk it. She's ruined. See, this is why we can't have nice things. So now it's ruined for everybody. So now they actually had to vote to cap the fees at the county level because no one has ever gotten into this role before and showed out and demanded more money, more than the Superior Court, the Supreme Court judges. Like, no one's ever done that. Why? Because there's a level of decorum. When you're a judge, right? Your professional reputation is on the line. You don't want your colleagues to, every time they see you come, to be like, oh, here they come, just so greedy. You want to have a good camaraderie. And then not only that, what happens if you decide to move and serve in a different jurisdiction? You don't want the word to get out that you're a troublemaker and you don't know how to act. You're going to try to milk the county for all the money. But no, you would think she would have picked up the context clues and be like, well, what did my predecessor do? My predecessor, out of all his fees, he would take half. Maybe I should go and do likewise. Nope. They're going to push the envelope and then ruin it for everybody else. So now listen to what this county commissioner says.
It's your fault. It's our fault because we did not cap something.
Earlier this month, Commissioner Ann Jones-Guider proposed a $50,000 cap.
We never capped anybody else. Why now?
Because your judge doesn't know how to act. That's why you got to cap it now. You're right. And I agree with the older lady who's like, it's not your fault. It's our fault for failing to cap it. And we've never even had to have this conversation before because no one has ever gotten into this role. And even it was unthinkable to do what this woman is doing. But of course, this one right here with the Gorilla glue down is like, well, we ain't never did it before. So it's like, if you're expecting this woman to hold another Black woman accountable on the basis of what's right, your expectations are just no. They're not going to do it. They will always side with one another and they will fail to do what's right most of the time. And that's the part that pisses me off because what happens is she's going to ruin this. This is setting a precedent. Like all of this DEI stuff, it is setting a precedent to where women that look like me who want to compete based on their own efforts and their merit and, our track record and our level of professionalism and whatever it is of value that we bring to the role, people are going to see you and be like, nope, because that's trouble right there. Because all they do is cause trouble. As soon as they get there, they make outrageous demands. They don't want to follow the rules. They want to make it up as they go, walk to the beat of their own drum. Like, it gets worse. And I'm saying what I'm saying because when you hear some of the other things that she has done, you're just like, dang, sis, like you couldn't just be happy that you got the position and just do right. No, they must demand and make it miserable for everybody else because they can't manage their own misery.
I'm not saying take it all away. I'm saying cap it. Make it reasonable. There's no reason any county official should be making $250,000.
Now, when people inquired about it, the judge screamed racism. And guess what? They allowed her to keep every single dime of the fee.
So there it is. That's the trump card. All you gotta do is say racism and no offense or no shade. But the weak jellyback white folks cower because Lord forbid if they get called racist. This is not going to stop until people of all ethnicities put their foot down and say, no, I don't care what you call me. This is wrong. Here is the principle. Here is the standard of righteousness. This does not fit the standard, so therefore we have to reject it. But just because these orangutans cry racism and sexism doesn't make it true. And every time you cower and bow the knee to them, they win a little more inch and they take the mile. You cannot negotiate with this terroristic kind of behavior. You cannot. You have to cut it off at the head, because if you don't, it gets worse and worse and worse. Do not allow these people to use and weaponize Lucifer's language against you. Racism doesn't even mean anything anymore. She can't prove that anybody is treating her different on the basis of ethnicity. She can't prove that, but all they gotta do is say it and whip it out like it's the deuce, an ace of spade or something, and just slap it down on the table, and everybody be like, "Oh, well, I guess that's it." No, you should have pushed back. You should have pushed back, and you have to act. And you got to treat these situations, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of what people call you, you stand for what is right, or else this will never end. It will never end. They're going to keep going and keep pulling the race card, and people going to still roll their eyes, but you can't be silent. You have to push back.
Now, this is DEI in action. You got a rookie judge handling a small fraction of cases, getting paid more than any other senior judge there, and all because she's black. Now, after all of that was settled, then a video surfaced of Judge Peterson campaigning. Now, in this video, she's pretending to be a white man with a mustache, giving explicit sexual relationship advice to online followers. Check it out.
While running for probate judge in 2020, Christina Peterson posted a satirical, sometimes sexually graphic video of her playing a white man giving dating advice to a black woman.
You are homosexual. That man will do anything for a place to stay.
Now, even though that was
okay, y'all. Remember when I said orangutans don't know how to act? How are you a judge and you're not thinking about your professional reputation? Why are you even putting stuff like this on social media? Like you don't have to go to work on Monday. Like, what is wrong with you? Do you not understand that as a judge, you are held to a different standard? This is your livelihood. This is your career. Why are you talking reckless and crazy like this on social media? Even if it was a parody. See, this is the issue I have. It's okay for her to be racist because we're like, oh, she was just joking. But the moment someone tries to hold her accountable, not on the basis of her ethnicity or her gender, but by her behavior and her actions, then it's like, oh, the racist. The white supremacy is sexism. Like, it's just so frustrating. And this is why we can't have nice things. Because there is a double standard, but it's not the double standard that you think. She can put stuff, inflammatory things like this, on social media like it's funny, and nobody is allowed to say anything because it's freedom of expression. But if a white person had done that in blackface, whole county be on fire right now. And you know I'm right. So why is it that she's allowed to do this? But if the roles were reversed, it would be a problem. I know y'all would say, well, you know, it's not racist because you got to have power to be racist. Well, she's a judge. She's got some power. So is that not enough? Or does the definition shift and change now because it's someone that looks like you that is actually the perpetrator of the infraction? Is that how it works? I'm just asking questions. I don't know. Let's continue.
was bad. Judges aren't allowed to solicit the public for personal donations, right? Give me money because I'm a judge. But when authorities looked, they found that that's exactly what this judge did. She was asking, as a judge, for donations to her Cash App from the public on her birthday. Now, again, Judges are forbidden from soliciting donations from the public directly, especially on their official public page.
Christina Peterson has only been a judge 6 months, but already she faces allegations she's brought, quote, disrepute upon her office. In a filing from the Judicial Qualifications Commission, the group that investigates complaints against judges, Peterson is accused of using her social media account to solicit cash donations for her birthday. According to the JQC complaint, on her birthday last August, Peterson posted this on her official Christina J. public Instagram page, a picture of herself wearing a birthday tiara and listing her Cash App account. Quote, if anyone feels like sharing their quarantine wealth. When JQC investigators contacted the judge this year, the complaint says Peterson explained she thought that post was to her private personal page, and I was wondering on that day why I was getting Cash App from people I didn't know. The JQC said in her Instagram bio, Peterson called herself Judge-elect.
If it was done in public, it's a cardinal violation, which is an intolerable activity for a judge to do. A judge cannot stand up and say, I'm a judge, send me money.
So Judge Peterson was breaking all the rules, and that was even before she got sworn in as a judge. Then she became Judge Peterson, who, as we saw earlier, has an issue with interracial relationships. Now, the judge had to deal with an issue concerning a Thai immigrant who married a black man. Now, P.G. Skelton married in Douglas County in 2016. Now, this was before Peterson took office. Now, Skelton had written her uncle's name on her original marriage license because she didn't know her father's name. So she wrote her uncle's name on the document because that is who raised her. That was her father at the time. Then later, she discovered her father's real name. So she went to get her marriage license amended. She filled out the paperwork to change the name on the marriage license and went in front of Judge Peterson. Now, Judge Peterson, seeing an Asian woman married to a black man, decided to make things difficult. Peterson told her that she had to come to court and then ordered her jailed for 48 hours and fined $500 for contempt.
I just don't have memories of my dad. I don't know who he is.
The most troubling, wrote the panel, Peterson's decision to jail this woman for trying to amend her marriage certificate to include the real name of her recently discovered father.
Did you go to this hearing with any idea that you may be going to jail?
No.
P.J. Skelton served 2 days of a 20-day jail sentence for contempt before her husband could pay a $500 fine. Such a hasty and shockingly disproportionate reaction is the hallmark of Peterson's intemperance.
Now,
what did I tell y'all? The definition of a ratchetang: female imbecile who cannot manage their misery. Why would you, as a judge, you're a probate judge, like you shuffle papers and be like, yes, no, it's not that serious. It's not. This woman submits an amendment to her marriage license because at the time of the nuptials, she's like, I didn't know who my daddy was. It's discovered later, oh, okay. So, the person who is her dad, who she thought was her dad, is not her dad. So she's like, oh, okay, well, in good faith, wanting the record to reflect the accuracy of who her dad biologically is now that she knows. Something as simple, well, oh, okay, well, let's just go down to the court, amend the marriage license. No big deal, you would think. But the allegation is, because Queen of Ratchetang, Christina right here, she got an issue with a black man being with someone non-black. She's gonna make this woman pay because you took one of ours. You took one of the good ones. See, if she had joy in her heart and she was just content with who she was, and if she was a professional and a judge trying to just enact the law with no partiality, this would have been something as simple like, oh, okay, no big deal. I get it. All right, good. Here you go. No, she put this woman in jail. This woman served 2 days in jail for a clerical amendment who, on the basis of what she knew at the time, was accurate and true. She could have just left it and be like, oh, well, I know who my daddy is. That's nice. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, most people would have done that. But she just wants to do the right thing. And then find this woman. How much hatred in your heart and how miserable do you need to be to try to weaponize your power against someone, all because you just mad on the inside? Because what, you probably single as all get out. That's what this is really all about. The money doesn't even matter how much money she makes. It cannot fill the empty hole in her soul for her to manage her misery well. That's why they act this way. They all do. It's all about, they have to compensate. So I need power. I need more money. I need influence. I need to present this air that everything is okay and that I'm just queen on top of the world, when inside they are miserable. And since they don't know how to manage that misery, they show out. And everybody else has to experience and feel their wrath, because they haven't learned that this is not how you get ahead in life. This is not how you do it. You don't need to demand to be in spaces. Your gifts will make room for you. If you are talented and you were good, you don't think in 2024 that people will recognize that and seek you out? Particularly in this cultural climate when nobody wants to work hard, nobody wants to pay their dues, nobody wants to wait their turn. When you actually encounter someone that's just doing everything above board, they're working hard, they don't want special treatment. They're just like, just recognize my talent and my effort and just treat me like everybody else. But they don't want to be treated like everybody else. They want special treatment. She claimed it was about fairness. How is it fair that you're at a whopping $280,000, more than the Supreme Court, State Court, Superior Court, Magistrate? How is it that you're making more money than all of them and you're the least qualified? Like, you don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing. And taxpayers are just paying you so that you can sit up on Instagram with your mammary glands hanging out, begging for cash apps. Now, to be fair, that happened before she was sworn in, but the residents of Douglas County should have been like, oh, we got a problem on our hands. Did we vote for her? Because if we did, yeah, this is y'all's fault. Listen, I got some friends in Douglas County. Matter of fact, I think Virgil live in Douglas. This y'all's fault. This is y'all's fault. And I'm going to tell you why. We all are going to have to accept responsibility for the decline and the low standards of expectations that are set in our country now. We all on some level have to accept responsibility for this. You know why? Because every 2 years and in every 4 years, when it's primary season and it is election season and we go to the ballot box, we're not doing our due diligence. We are not looking into 98% of these candidates. We don't know anything about them. We don't know what their values are. We're just like, okay, that's the incumbent. I guess they've been doing a good job. Okay. And we vote for them. And it's not until, and they know this, they know that the vast majority of people are not going to look into who they are and what they represent, and they're going to get the vote anyway. It's not until they actually get into the role and they start doing stuff like this that now it's like, oh, well, now we got to pay attention. Perhaps if we had attempted to put someone in that role, not on the basis of what they look like, but how many years experience do they have? Have they paid their dues? Have they shown their work? Have they done a good job in a previous role? Oh, well, if they've done that, then maybe we should vote for them on that basis, not because of what they look like or what gender they are. Or take it a step further, who they sleep with. Like, the fact that these are actual bona fide categories that people are judged on and determined to be qualified for a role, that is so crazy to me. Because I'm like, well, first of all, my ethnicity is not something I can control. It is just inherent to me as an image bearer of God, and it gives no indication to my character or what I value as a person. You can't determine any of those things just by looking at me and saying, oh, her ethnicity. So I'm like, why is that even up for discussion? Then my gender. My gender tells you nothing about my character, my essence, and what I value. It lends no credibility to anything that matters. So why is that even considered? Why is that even considered? And then furthermore, who I'm sleeping with. Why does my sexual orientation, why does that need to be an intersectionality box that I need to check to be like, oh, this is a great candidate. She Black, she female, and she sleep with women. Like, seriously? This is where we are as a country, that those are the things that we value and that matter. Your character, what you value, whether you can be impartial, whether you can make wise decisions, whether you're a good steward over what God has placed in your hands, none of those things matter. Your intellect, can you read? I don't know, just the basics. I don't even think those things are questioned or considered anymore. And now we are reaping the harvest of what happens when you vote for somebody just because they are first. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue. So the next part, you're going to see her willful rebellion and defiance, putting everybody, her co-workers, and the entire courthouse at risk because rules don't apply to ratchet tanks. They do what they want to do. They don't comply, submit to authority, right? That's the mindset they kind of move and function with. But y'all, take a look at this.
So Judge Peterson asked the sheriff if she could just let her guest in without being screened. The sheriff told her no, this was a security issue. But Judge Peterson said, the hell with the rules. She's the judge, and she allowed them to come into the courthouse unscreened anyway.
On a Saturday afternoon this past April, probate judge Christina Peterson, seen on this security video in the black robe, presided over a wedding inside the closed Douglas County Courthouse. This happened even though Peterson was told something judges don't often hear. You can't do that.
Y'all, the courthouse was closed. Like, for you to just think that you closed, closed just means for everybody else. Closed don't mean closed for me. So the courthouse is closed. She has some friends that want to get married. She's like, I'm a judge. I'm going to marry you guys. They're like, well, we want to do it on a Saturday. And they're like, no, you can't do that. She's like, don't worry about it. Y'all show up. I got this. This is essentially what has happened. Let's continue. Then I say play.
Cannot go in this building, and eventually she went in.
The sheriff's office said Peterson had originally told them the wedding would be that morning. So just like during the week, deputies opened the courthouse that Saturday to make sure anyone entering the building was properly scanned. But when no one else showed up that morning, the deputies locked up and left. Hours later, Peterson arrived and opened the courthouse, ignoring the sheriff's office orders, and let the wedding party and guests wander the second and third floor of the courthouse unscreened.
If you don't go through the screening station and you're a citizen, you could drop off a gun, put it in the trash can in the bathroom. There's places in there you can hide things that could hurt people.
Did the judge put anybody at risk that day?
She put all of the employees that work in this courthouse and the citizens who would come that Monday morning at risk.
So Judge Peterson didn't care about the rules. She is the law.
So, but let Nate finish telling you about this beef, the drama with the HOA. I said play. Why you don't want to play?
A meeting and decided to threaten the Homeowners Association because she was a judge. Now, eventually there was a settlement of all claims between Judge Peterson and the HOA, but Judge Peterson was representing some clients. Now, the HOA essentially settled for, I think, $70,000, but The people who Judge Peterson represented never got a dime of that money.
A probate judge knows what she's talking about. Listen to her. She got 2 pending lawsuits against us right now.
The angry reaction to Peterson stems from a lawsuit she and others filed in 2017 against the HOA that led to a $70,000 settlement. According to a complaint filed against her by the Judicial Qualifications Commission, Peterson never shared that money with her clients.
Yeah, she just up and bounced with the cash. And anytime anybody criticized Judge Peterson, she played the race card. You're racist. You're only complaining because she's a black woman.
And when county staff criticize her actions, it quickly triggers allegations of obstructionism or even racism.
So notice you guys, racism and sexism is used as like a force field. It's like a shield, right? It's like a shield to protect and insulate from criticism. Because they've realized that if I just say racism, that'll get the guilty white folks, that'll get them to be quiet and that'll shut them up. And you don't really use racism against other blacks, but sometimes they just use it because it's like their default. They don't have a defense for any of their actions. There's no justification for their actions. So they have to pull the racism card, and you're just doing this to me because I'm black. Because I'm a black woman. And it's so hard being black and carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders and carrying the community. Like y'all know the little baby violin song that they always crying, but this situation was interesting because she's a judge, but remember, she's also an attorney. She has a law degree, so she's barred with the Georgia State Bar. She represents in this feud with the HOA some plaintiffs. They win a settlement of $70,000. And she ain't shared that money with none of those people. In her mind, remember, she's entitled. So she probably was like, these are my coins. I represented y'all. And, y'all didn't really pay me no legal fees. I'm not saying that she's saying this, but this is just how they think. So it's a wash. I represent you and we win the judgment. I keep the money and it's even. And they're like, well, wait a minute. You represented us. I can guarantee you there was probably nothing on paper because she's sloppy. So she doesn't strike me as one that went through the proper channel saying, okay, if I'm going to represent, granted, she probably lives here too in this community. I don't know. But let's just say she lives in this community and she is representing the plaintiffs against the Homeowners Association. She doesn't strike me as one that was like, you know what? We all live in this community together and I love y'all, but here's my retainer fee, or here is, I'll do this on a contingency basis. If we win the settlement, I'm going to take 15, 20, 35%, whatever the going rate is. She probably didn't have any of that in place, right? Because she's sloppy. So she figured, a little handshake, whoop-de-woo, gets awarded the judgments against the HOA. Her clients that she represented won, and they ain't see a dime of the money. She don't feel no ways bad about it. No ways bad about it. And this is what the court, when all of these infractions and professional misconduct was done, and how she brought, what did they say, disrepute upon the court, not one time did she ever accept responsibility or accountability for what she did. She's the eternal victim. And you're going to see right here, you're going to see it.
These communications and actions reveal a judge who publicly vilifies colleagues, is quick to threaten them with unnecessary legal action, and generally projects a spiteful and vainglorious persona.
I'm the first African-American female and Democrat. Yes. I was never celebrated or congratulated.
Are you kidding me? What are you, 5? I'm the first female Democrat, and to nobody celebrate or congratulate me. Ma'am, that's not an accomplishment. I know in 2024, everybody wants to celebrate the fact that you black and you a woman and you the first. You had no control over your ethnicity and you had no control over your gender. Why do we have to celebrate that because it's the first? Why? If you was all that in a bag of chips, can't we just celebrate you on the basis of you're doing a great job? You're giving little girls and little boys something to aspire to because you just work hard and you paid your dues and you didn't get there based off of some existential reality that you couldn't control. But she's sitting up here on this witness stand crying, saying no one celebrated her or congratulated her. You want a trophy? Girl, if you don't just cut it out. It is difficult. I can't have sympathy. And this just, you guys, forgive me. This could just be a generational thing. I'm telling you, these Gen Zs and these, no shade to my millennial friends, because there's some of you guys on here that are millennials, and I have more in common with you than my geriatric millennials. We here. I'm gonna give y'all a pass. But them early millennials on down, the Gen Alphas and the Gen Zs, it could just be a generational thing. Because I can't understand wanting to be congratulated just because you black and you female. I'd be like, but did you do something? I mean, wait, you want a medal? You want a Snicker bar? You didn't do anything. You just exist. And the issue here, why is she even bringing this up? I don't know if this is a hearing or an actual judicial review. I don't know what it is, but I'm trying to understand, why did that matter? And why does she feel the need to tell us that? And are we supposed to be moved by the tears behind it? Because if anything, that makes it worse. It's almost like they're not listening to themselves. They're saying it, but they're not listening to how it sounds. It perpetuates the stereotype that you really believe that you are superior and that you are better on the basis of your ethnicity. I'm telling you guys, this black girl magic done gone to some of these people's heads, and it is ruining society because you can't even engage in a meaningful way in conversations like this, because every time you talk, it's got to come up in conversation. Well, she's black and she's a woman, and it's just so hard. The crown adjustment, it's just so heavy, and the weight and the responsibility. It's like, I'm over it. I'm over it. What can you do? What are your skills that are notable that deserve praise? What have you done? What have you accomplished outside of how you were born and what's between your legs? Because I really don't care anymore. I'm uninterested and I'm unmoved. And so much so, you guys, and this is me as a melanated woman saying this publicly, and I'm not trying to speak for other people who don't look like me, but I'm telling you what this is doing. When I drive in my community and I see all of the campaign signs of all of the black women who are running, it is sad that I have to literally submit to the Lord what's going on in my heart, because it's put a bad taste in my mouth based off of the experience that we are all experiencing in real life. And now I have to guard my heart against the extreme of don't trust none of them. That's wrong. That's sinful. But look what it is breeding in the culture. It's causing people to not even want to be bothered because of these bad apples that are spoiling it for the entire bunch. So to guard myself against sinful thoughts of assuming that if she's black and she a woman and she running, that she's bad news, I have to go out of my way to get to know the candidate and find out who they are and what they represent. Because if not, that assumption is going to be made. So if I am black and I am a female and I'm thinking this, what the heck do you think other people who don't share my ethnic image are thinking? That is proving the point. And now it is actually making it more difficult for those who are actually qualified, who don't want special treatment, who just want to be judged on the basis of what they're bringing to the job or to the role. Now they got to work extra hard to overcompensate for the orangutans that we've let loose into the judicial system and into our local political sphere. Now they got to overcompensate. That is sad. That is sad, and that should not be, but it's the truth. And so just in the spirit of transparency, I'm just letting you know, as a believer, we have to guard our hearts about showing partiality in the reverse because of these bad apples and these bad actors and these narcissistic, irresponsible, lacking accountability females who have been able to rise to power, not because they're talented and qualified, but because they just happen to be the right color and the right gender. God's people, we have to guard our hearts against that, because if we're just being honest and transparent, it makes you be like, mm-mm. And that's not the answer either. The answer is not to judge on appearance and say, I'm not voting because something's wrong. We don't know that. But it makes it real hard not to enter into your mind to have that assumption, because of every story, major cities, something wrong with all of them. They just don't know how to act. There's impropriety and corruption because it's like they get a little piece of power. And they're not there to do a good job. They are there to fulfill their own self-interest. And that's the problem. They're trying to push personal agendas versus saying, I'm just glad to be at the table and I'm going to do a good job. And when I leave, I'm going to leave this court better than when I got here. Oh, thank you, sweetheart. One of my sugar bears came in and said I was clipping because I'm talking too loud. So I'm going to pipe it down. Let me acknowledge a super chat from beautiful Nicole Huffman. She says, a whole wedding? Yes, girl. A whole wedding on a Saturday, unapproved, after the deputy was like, okay. I think the issue with that situation was that they didn't show up when they were supposed to. And so they lock up the building and leave. And instead of her saying, listen, gang, I know y'all was on CP time, but we're going to have to postpone this till Monday because the courthouse is closed. And you really don't expect me to open up the courthouse because I don't have a deputy here to get y'all through security. And that's not okay. Like, this is my job, y'all. You know, I don't want to put my job in jeopardy. Y'all can wait till Monday. Y'all can wait till Monday. You know what I'm saying? Like, you love her. Y'all gonna be all right. That's the conversation that should have been had with her little crew. But that didn't happen. She just defied the direct order of, no, you can't do that. Showed up when she wanted to. Nobody went through security. You know, we don't know what Tyrone and them had on them, but it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. The deputy was like, she put everybody's life in danger and compromised the integrity of the security of this official government building because she just wanted to do what she wanted to do because you can't tell them nothing.
On my day of swearing in, I was sworn in by Judge Emerson. I received my first JQC complaint.
Now, after these 30 charges were dropped on Peterson, she defended herself, and her main defense was that she was an inexperienced judge. And she had promised that all of the additional training that she received had helped her overcome this inexperience. But the problem is that Peterson is the highest paid judge in that county. So,
wait a minute. So everyone was saying, you're not experienced. You don't deserve to be the highest paid judge here in the county. And then the defense is, oh, well, the reason why I have all these complaints because I just didn't know. So your inexperience that everyone was trying to say doesn't warrant you to be paid this is now being used as the defense for why she didn't know how to act and just was doing what she wanted to do. You know, I didn't know I was a new judge, but you know, I've remedied and that now, and now I know better. You just demonstrated to everybody why you didn't deserve to be in a position in the first place, because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know, and you didn't even seek out. You were so hell-bent on just the power and having the Instagram feed and your little judge outfit and your boobies out and all the other foolishness and unprofessional nature of how you conduct yourself in the world and how you present yourself to the world. Then now, the very thing that everybody was like, she really don't have no experience. She's like a rookie judge. Now that's used as a defense. Well, y'all know I ain't had no experience, but I know better now. Well, it's too late now. 30 charges later, and now you expect everybody to believe that now you know better? Really? Okay. Okay.
So the most inexperienced judge should be given a pass for all these ethics violations, even though she's being paid more than any other judge?
Peterson's main defense was her inexperience as a judge, a problem she promised has been addressed through additional training. But the panel was not buying it. The report also cited multiple examples of failure to actually do her job, needlessly delaying petitions before her office. The hearing panel said Peterson was guilty of systemic incompetence. Judges are expected to act in a manner that promoted the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary. Respondent has shown that she cannot or will not do so. And so, she must go.
On top of all the infractions, and she ain't even doing her job well. Who voted for her? The county did. The county voted for her.